is this pacifistic son of a bitch?
Good morning. It's 3 a.m. as you can see outside. And I'm awake because I decided to do something that I haven't done. I don't even remember when. But I do remember that I used to enjoy immensely these morning hours. And I decided to go to Matosuo hiking area to inspect what sort of encounters we can experience this fine morning. It's not just about the destination, it's about the trip, so join me. This of course is my trusty old electrically assisted bicycle which I bought used from the interweb a couple of years back. It cost me 300 euros and after that I've used 200 euros to make it sort of work. So 500 euros in total, and it is absolutely perfect in here. Because the driving position is upright, you can see the world and it's very easy going. You pedal it with much relaxed style than my new electrically assisted bicycle. Actually prefer this to that. But as a day-to-day drive to work and back, I think the new one is better because it's slightly faster. Just listen to this. Like I said, it is as much the journey as it is the destination. It's a bit of annoying that tiny rattle there. You can see there's a mud guard and there is this plastic little flip there, which I installed it because I really needed it in the city. God damn it, that rook. But I needed it in the city in the rainy times because it just blasts water and mud into my shoes without it. Now I don't need it, so I could take it away. Look who it is. It's a sun. Morning, Mr. Sun. I don't know why I call it Mr. I do enjoy this still. There's something about these morning hours when everyone else is asleep. Come on. That sucking, rattling piece of plastic. There's a bit of an issue with this bike as well as one of my previous bikes. When you go underneath these huge power lines, it gives you a jolt in the ass. Some electricity. So I'm gonna put my phone away. Yes, we survived it. Now it isn't a very large shock, but it's just a bit of pesky. It wakes you up. Let's tell you that. If this scenery doesn't do that, then the electricity will. And the road just keeps on getting better and better, as you can see. And this is actually a very good spot, this tiny bridge here. Have a little breather. There's someone using a chainsaw in the background. Sorry, nothing I can do about that. Just look at that murky water. And furthermore, this is a good spot to do a little basic maintenance of your bicycle. Let's see, it started to make a little noise on the 4th gear. It's now on 4th, and this is very easy to adjust. This sort of internal Shimano gearing. It's so easy that you can just do it basically whilst pedaling. As you can see, if I can get you in there, there is the yellow markings, and they should line up in the 4th gear. Now it goes over it. This is 5th, this is 4th, and it doesn't always line up. And when it doesn't line up, it's not on gear properly. So to adjust this, you just rotate this tiny screw here and adjust tiny dot there so that it lines up every time you sort of twist it. And the easiest way, or proper way, of course, is adjusting it so that it lines up. Then you drop it from 5th, because there's nothing you can do about that drop. It just drops. And I don't know if you can see it, but I can, and it lines up perfectly now when I drop. And then because you can sort of adjust it a little bit when you are shifting from 3rd to 4th. Now it stays a little bit under, but then you just sort of twist it a little bit more, and then it lines up perfectly. Now, that's that. Jules repairs. Bicycle maintenance. 101. 101. Let's keep on going. Into that gorgeous, gorgeous morning. Of course, being small South Österbottnian municipality, it's lots of nature. As you can see, that is actually very. No, it continues there, the clear cut. I'm about to say that is reasonable size for a clear cut area, but it doesn't. It goes on there. But anyway, let's keep on the positive vibes of previous cycling episode. Still positive Jules. It's rough going now because there's a bit larger pebbles of gravel. It's tough on bicycles. Tires. I changed the rear tire, all of it. The rim and the tire and all the rest of it. So it's a new tire, but still problem with this bike is that the battery is located right on top. Even actually a little bit behind the rear axle. So the center of gravity is very far down there. And it's very wobbly to drive. Compared to my new one where the battery is located about there. On the center of the bike, which I think is a much preferred position for it. It's lower down, it's in the center, and it is much lighter battery unit than in this. And then another problem is in here, there's still some juice left in its battery. I think the range is on this sort of very light usage. It's about 60 kilometers, but it is going down. It's very old battery unit. It's bad nick. The casing of it is bad nick. And I've been searching the internet for a new battery for this bike, but doesn't seem to be any site where I can find one. So when it goes sort of that's that, really. But it's not yet gone, so let's just enjoy this. And I have to say, since this is my bike, there's about to be some dry British humor. What a glorious day it's about to be. Cranes. Very, very little mosquitoes. Very few. And that is alarming. God damn it, this is good. We're getting closer to the nest. I think 1 kilometer still this pebble road, then we turn one last time right. And here we are then, this turning point. This is as far as I can get with this bike. I of course have used this on path, trail on the forest, but it's just not built for that sort of thing, so I'm not gonna even try to get down there because there's no trails. There's just 800-meter hike, roughly towards the light. It's in this case it's the sun, of course. My bicycle made it perfectly here. Just one notch of battery gone, as you can see there. Let's switch it off and lock it, because all it takes is one asshole with a van or a state and comes here, and if it's unlocked he can just throw it in. I might actually even put it there in that bush. Now I'm gonna hike there. I think there will be some mosquitoes. It's a moist, damp ground there. There are some mosquitoes, but taking what time it is, it's midsummer, there should be a hell of a lot more. But I think the spring has been so dry that there just hasn't been puddles here in the forest in which the mosquitoes could have multiplied. Let's just keep on breathing this magnificent morning in. Just gorgeous. But of course there's signs of man's idea of nature. Utterly annoying. I mean, the area's just there. These sort of places should be left completely untouched by the greed of man. But no. I mean, even these ditches are completely dry. It's about to be very dry summer if there isn't gonna be any heavy raining in the near future. It's gonna be disastrous for many living things. But that's the climate change for you. Hi. There was some hole. Probably nice message. What's your step in here? And tread lightly. I wish you could smell this. Yeah, there's another hole, as you can see. But I wish you could smell this. I'm not sure what it is in English. I shall spell it out for you there if I can be bothered. But when you tread on it, it creates this nice aroma. It's very sort of essential in these sort of moist damp forest bits and swamps. And it is beautiful. This looks like Lapland. This, and it feels like Lapland because the ground, look at it, lichens and moss and that. But just look at that. This is what I'm here for. Utter magnificence. A little bit tiny woods there, young ones, but then again it's moist soil, so they don't grow that large anyway. And again, I don't have got a paper map or compass, I just have got my phone, but it's pretty easy to know now the direction of travel because the sun is up. And once we get to that Matosuo area, you will notice that it's very hard to miss. And it spreads pretty much there, all the way there, north and to the east. It's very hard to miss it. Actually, I think I can see some part of it already there, distance. Now we are getting very close. It's very sort of marsh lands now. I think I should circle around there. It's a bit drier over there, but as you can see, this is, you can hear that there is moisture in the ground, but there's very little even on my shoe. I've already done a little bit there. So we are gonna head as the crow flies. And this is delicate soil, so I must tread very carefully not to damage. But what a place and what a time to be alive. It's just utterly magnificent. I have forgotten how much I love these pines on the swamp. It's just brilliant because they are very old. You can see and you can sense that they are old, but they are still very tiny. Because there is much moisture but very little nutrients on this boggy ground. But pines still survive somewhat. Utter perfection. So glad I decided to come here. Look at these tiny fellows. It's just, you can actually see, I don't know if you can see, but the tree line is fading there, the distance. That's where it starts. The great Matosuo, which is a warm swamp or warm marsh or something like that. Hello, that's my shadow. There you have it. Duckboards. This is, I filmed here before, as you probably remember, those keen-eyed Julipers that you are. But this is European long-distance hiking route E6, I think it was, perhaps. Goes all the way from Soini and beyond actually, but Soini municipal town, city, not a city, well, village center, to Ähtäri city. And there is that Arpainen cabin place in the midst of it. And then of course there's this Matosuo area. And this has been pretty popular with bikers. It has been, I don't know, yes, there's still some grooves there on the path, so it's still being used. Some bikers and of course other hikers such as me. There's a tiny fireplace there, just a few hundred meters down there, and I was thinking of getting in with something that I could grill, roast on open flame. But there is as you saw, the ground is very, very dry, and there is a forest fire warnings issued here in southeast Bosnia, so bread it is for me now. But actually we could stop here and have some water. It is, as you can see, pretty vast area. It is very isolated. There is a bigger tarmac road there in the north. It brings a little bit of noise pollution, and there are windmills somewhere there north, but I don't think we can see them. Let's see when we get to more open ground. And I think tarmac roads, bigger roads and freight traffic is far more substantial source of noise pollution than windmills are. So I don't think windmills are that bad, but we need to absolutely make certain that they cause no harm to wilderness animals that live here. That's why this goes with the politics things once again, but I would prefer that we install all those windmills and wind farms near the urban areas, near the city centers, or even within the cities and the industrial states and on the side of bigger roads and whatnot, so we could focus the noise pollution on those areas which we infect otherwise anyway, because we are the ones that need electricity. So we should suffer from the consequences of creating electricity, not animals and plants in the wilderness, which is currently I think the political will of things, but it sucks. But at least here now just a bit of rustle from the wind, beautiful birds singing. Other than that, just silence. There have been some storm damages here, but easy to leap over. Well, I'm not so sure anymore about the journey is as good as the destination. Just so beautiful. These open marsh areas, they are pretty marvelous to ski across in winter times. I do hope that I get the chance next winter to do some skiing. I'm just gonna travel these duckboards. They are not duckboards, causeways, whatever these were called. I simply always forgot. But anyway, travel them through the length of this marvelous place. The north, then I'm gonna have some crop there, and then I'm gonna head back down again. Such a gorgeous weather and a place. I knew this is, but I'm still always dumbfounded when I get here. As good nature bits do, they just smack your face in with their beauty and serenity. Brilliant. There's even some markings of an old forest fire there, as you can see. Completely forgotten about that. There is substantial diversity of nature in here. Even though if there are forests around it are a bit young. But it is getting there. Now that it's been left alone, its own devices. It's gonna be pretty beautiful, it already is. It's gonna be even more so. There was a cuckoo very close by. I tried to take a few pictures, but it was just behind the branches. So I think I failed. I have it in here. Here we have an opening. Longest stretch of duckboards. It's duckboards, I checked it from sanakirja.org. But anyway, it goes all the way through, I think there. This swampy bit. Let's take that journey, but let's tread carefully because there's toads and lizards and snakes, and then there are birds nesting there. I think the birds have already done with their nesting there. Chicks have already left in most cases from the nest, so it's not so crucial anymore, and you can travel through these duckboards even in the nesting time. But other than these marked paths, you should never wander off there, not even in the winter time. I have been skiing in here, but then even then I try to stick into this trail because although it's probably pointless because it's just, I think it just compresses the snow a little bit, slows it down, the melting of it in the springtime a little bit. I know it's very trivial, but you can make a choice. You can choose to stick on these tracks and just reduce your impact on nature. I mean, we as a species do well enough on that front anyway, so always choose lesser impact. I mean, that tiny sort of an island area there, it's very beautiful. I'd love to go visit there, but once again, you should not, so just keep your distance and admire it. Just so, listen to this. Now the wind is picking up a little bit, so it's tight. Other than that, it's just, oh. Wagtail. I just spotted them. Let's see if you can spot them. There they run. Creating some electricity. So you can watch natural Jules from YouTube. Bit too close, but once again, well, you cannot hear it. But I bet that you could hear. Even you could hear if the winds didn't muffle that. But it was the sound from the road there in the north. They were much further east than I expected. I thought them to be sort of more towards north, but they were there. Just love the tiny sound of that golden plover. It is P, not B, plover. Just that tiny, 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 tiny whistle. There it flies. Still a little bit of open water there. As you can see, it has been very wet here. But these are completely dry now. These tiny bits. It is dangerously dry. I think I said it already, but there's a little bit of moist there on the ground, but not much. This is what these swampy bits, these quagmires are good for. Even though, if this is now very dry, it sort of holds the water, regulates it. It evens the high water times, it evens out the flow downstream. And now when it's very dry, there's at least some moisture in the ground and in places like this. Let's just hope that rains come pretty soon so they can fill up. Because this is now, it is, I don't remember this dry of an early summer, this dry spring and early summer. It's just, the swans, trumpet swans. They have nested here as well. This is very, very rich bird. Sort of grounds these open marsh areas. Very good. That's why those are pretty dangerous, because they are so close. Birds can easily strike in them. But I think there has been studies that indicate that birds pretty quickly learn how to avoid them when they are introduced in the area. So, but still, they do increase the risk of killing, especially the larger birds, eagles and falcons and swans and cranes and whatnot. So, as you can hear, there's some sandpiper or something. And my presence have been noticed. Now actually I think I should probably turn back. I was thinking of going there to have a little bread, but I think, well, they are there. Let's see if there isn't any birds there which are alert by my presence, then I can still sort of go there. That is getting so close now that I don't think I can. I think it has got nest in there and chicks. See, it's on the branch there. I'll try to take a few pictures. Yes, I decided to give it some peace and head back there and eat the grub in that forest bit there. So we won't bother them. Their hatchlings, I think, are there on the side a little bit, but there's another one. Clearly alert. I'm sorry, I'm heading off. Be at peace. Bye. Just gorgeous, gorgeous little things. I absolutely love them. All birds. Let's just leave them in peace and head back there. I was trying to take a few pictures there, but it is challenging because the sun is there, so it's sort of against the light. Let's see how well they turn out. If you want to see more of my photos, actually you can find them in my website. I can put a link down there. I haven't got Facebook or Instagram accounts or anything like that. This is actually the only social media now that I use, is YouTube, because the algorithms of those are just utterly poisonous, I think. Look at how long the pines have grown even this spring. You can see it's a sort of a wider shade of green in the top of the branches, and in the top I think that is somewhat due to the drought. There isn't that much water, so they can grow better, the pines. Because look at, it's such a small sapling, and yet it is very old, because you can see the branching of it. It's so sort of tight, and yet now it has grown, well, like never before, I suppose. It is exceptionally dry. I think here is a good place to sit down for a bit and have a couple of sandwiches. You can pretty clearly hear the trucks. They are on the road. Now that the day is worn on a bit, the traffic is intensifying. But let's just focus on the birds. I mean, this place to rest is a little bit close, as you can see, the trail, which is not recommended, but like I said, it's 6:30 a.m. I don't think there's much people hiking now. I was kind of hoping that when I came here this early, that I would have encountered some Finnish forest reindeer, because I know there are some in the Soini area. I have seen actually once, but I thought, and there have been sightings on this Matosuo area as well, and there are pretty nice forest bits close by, but I didn't see any. But well, anyway, there's still trip to go. I'm gonna head through those duckboards there into that forest bit, and then it's just sort of a small hike once again back to the bike. Sun is rather warm now, but the wind is actually very chilly. It would not have been at all overdressing if I had got the long sleeve on. But now I'm curiously going to find out if I can make it without using the location on my phone. Let's try it. Just the map and the sun for bearing. Let's see how well I fare. Such a perfect day. And it's just the morning. So, I don't know if you can see this phone at all. Let's switch a bit brighter. Yeah, roughly there, where that tree symbol is. Let's pretend that it is that. And we got just gonna head there where the bike is, on that turning point. South is straight down, so it's south-southwest. Sun is about east. Let's pretend that I know what I'm doing. Well, it's pretty straight east currently, so I'm gonna head there. Let's see how well this goes. Let's keep the shadow like on that side and then we're gonna head there. No, actually, yes, let's try that. Wish me luck. I obviously have done this before, but not in a very long time. But here we go. Keep the shadow on there and keep on heading. Straight on that direction. And one trick is that you sort of constantly shift on which side you circle around the trees. Because you tend to circle around one side of them and then you start to turn to one direction rather than other. So can be a bit misleading, but this is now a proper adventure. I just checked the name of this in English. It's a Labrador tea. Suopursu in Finnish. It is slightly poisonous. There's one trick that, as the name suggests, that it is a tea. It's a herb, and it has been used some sort of calming tea in evening time. You get better rest if you drink it, but I would use caution. And there are some, I think these are moose elk tracks or perhaps forest reindeer tracks. And of course there are bears which wander on these marshlands. I've encountered a bear once on my adventures. This is a long time ago. It's a pretty exciting encounter because it was a mother bear with 3 calves. I was on a bicycle and I was sort of walking with it over some crest, and they were walking from the other direction, and I think the mother was a bit tired of nonsense of those pesky children, because it was just hanging his head and just sort of lumbering on towards me. Then I spotted it and I stopped and I rang the bell. I tried to take a few photos of them, but since there was other things on my mind, they sort of were a bit shaky. But it was one encounter that will stay with me in here till the day I die, if I don't suffer ill fate of losing my memory in the older years. Look at that beautiful crack on that pine. It looks nearly like a lightning strike, but it is very old. Very old. Sort of a scar. There are ants carrying their babies up in it. I think this might have been a small. You can see here there has been a branching, perhaps. You cannot see anything on the ground, but perhaps it has been tearing off. There's been 2 trunks at some point. Very, very long ago though. Anyway, you cannot be certain. But it is a very good indicator just how tough these pines are. It's still alive, and that's very old scar. It has grown this bark here, trying to cover the scar. And it's still alive. They are just tough bastards, pines. Now I did make an episode of pines a little while back. I think it was nearly 10 years back. But anyway, I shall put the links for you there on the top end of the screen. Just up there. Yes, I think there it is. Let's see. Well, there you have it. Of course I know how to keep straight heading in the wild. because I am an experienced woodsman. And then I'm gonna take a little detour towards home, so you might wanna take along on that as well. There it is, gorgeous as ever. Of course, you probably realize that in that sort of place, with that sort of amount of moisture on the ground and standing water, when the conditions are right, the amount of mosquitoes and horseflies is just enormous. But now there were none, basically none. Very, very few mosquitoes and no horseflies at all. And it spells disaster for birds and frogs, toads, all the animals that feed on insects. Gorgeous woods. I'm gonna stop once I get some decent place. I'm gonna eat another one of my sandwiches. Drink some more water. Just breathe this place in. Oh, look at this. I found a nice tiny little pond. Right by the road which I was taking there. Beautiful. And I noticed something else. There is a beet industry area there. At least it used to be. But now it seems that they have stopped taking beet from it. And I'm pretty certain that they have filled the ditches up because there was so much water in those fields. And that's just brilliant. Yes, totally on board with that, because we can use peat in some extent, but we should once again use the peat from the fields that are close to bigger roads, because there are many of those. And that should be enough. All of these which are in the middle of nowhere, just close the ditches up and leave them be. Now the problem was there, of course, there was that lupin as well, spreading out into the wastelands there. So I'm not sure what is going to happen when those marshes get back to the natural state. Yes, and there is the bigger road which I shall turn now. Turn against the wind now, because the wind now has been on there behind me the whole morning, but now it starts to be a headwind. There we go. Downhill. Just drop the phone. I thought when it's gonna happen. It's a nice old stone fence there in the midst. Glorious thing. So you probably hear it's headwind, and it really is picking up. Rest a while on this lovely little bridge. Drink some water and listen to that. Such a nice day out. And there were some fields, quite many of them actually, which were still growing weed in it, grass. And that's brilliant because there are certain type of birds which are a bit late nesting, and they nest on the ground on the fields, and when they cut down grass so early nowadays, most of them are endangered. So that is brilliant. Now there's plenty of space for different types of birds to nest and different locations, and it is good. It is very, very good. I'm all aboard with that. There we have it. This tiny stint up there. Look at the beard. It's annoying. 6.5 hours. Some kilometers with bicycle I shall ride. Distances down there. And I suppose 2.5 kilometers on by foot. Nice. Glorious little adventure. Absolutely lovely stuff. Easy going. It must be said, even though I've got electricity, it still feels stuff going and my ass is killing me. But anyway, thank you so much for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.